Kim stood at the edge of the bridge looking down. She contemplated jumping, believing there was no reason to continue living. She had dedicated her entire life to being with Sunjin, even going as far as undergoing plastic surgery to enhance her appearance for him. Yet in the end, he chose someone else, someone who couldn't even offer half of what she had to give. As she moved closer to the edge, ready to end it all, she suddenly stopped and wiped away her tears. She couldn't give up that easily. As long as she was still breathing, there was always another chance to win Sunjin back. Stepping away from the edge, she convinced herself that Sunjin would not get away from her so easily. If she couldn't have him, then no one should. Determined, she walked back to her car, got in, and drove away. Meanwhile, Woobin arrived at his home and headed straight to his studio, only to find his mother standing there, looking at his paintings of Minsu. Furious, he questioned why she was in his house and who had let her in. She calmly told him that since they were now working together, he couldn't keep avoiding her. Glancing at Minsu's paintings, she questioned how deep his feelings ran to have created so many paintings of his best friend's fiancée. Woobin ignored the question and asked her to say whatever she had come for so that she could leave. Moving closer, she looked into his eyes and reminded him that she knew him better than anyone. He had never been the type to fall for a woman easily, but when he did, it was real. She hinted that he was much better than Sunjin and suggested that if he truly wanted, he could win Minsu over. Hearing this, Woobin became upset and told her to leave. She simply smiled and informed him that he was expected at the office the next day, where he would be formally introduced as the CEO. She explained that she had worked hard for the company long enough and that it was time for her to retire and travel the world. Before leaving, she instructed him to dress properly for the occasion. No pink hair, no earrings, and no dressing like a gangster. After she left, Woobin stood there staring at the painting he had made of Minsu. He questioned how he had allowed himself to fall for her so easily. He had always been known as the bad boy who never got attached, yet this time was different. The fact that he had fallen for her made him doubt himself. Determined to free himself from these feelings, he reminded himself that she belonged to his best friend and that they were deeply in love. Continuing to feel this way would only lead to disaster. With that thought, he placed the painting in a box and walked out. The following morning, Minsu arrived at Sunjin's family home with him. Looking at her, he asked if she was ready. Minsu admitted that she was scared, wondering what would happen if his family refused to bless their marriage and continued to oppose it. Sunjin reassured her, reminding her that his mother and sister supported them and that, regardless of his father's stance, they would proceed with their plans. As they both stepped out of the car, Sunjin took her hand, looked into her eyes, and asked if she was ready. She nodded, and together they walked into the house hand in hand.